All right. Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Yes, hello.
And today, we are going to be looking at
Well, you could say we're going on a journey through the digestive system.
a fascinating journey.
Yes.
So we've got this really great science knowledge organizer all about digestion and food chains.
Mm-hmm.
And, we all eat every day.
Right. Every day.
So this is something that affects all of us.
Yeah, so let's break it down.
Okay.
And we can start with the human digestive system.
Okay, great.
We'll take it step by step.
Like a factory.
Like a factory.
Yeah.
It's really amazing what's going on in there that we don't even think about.
Absolutely.
But we can start at the beginning.
Okay.
In the mouth.
Right.
Like we put the food in our mouths and we chew.
Right.
And, a lot of people don't realize that saliva is already starting to break things down.
Really?
Right there in the mouth.
I thought that was just to, lubricate things so you can swallow.
Well, it does do that, but it's also start to break down those carbohydrates.
Wow.
Yeah, right away.
So we chew it up. The saliva gets in there, starts breaking things down.
Then what happens?
It goes down the esophagus, right?
That's right, the esophagus.
Down into the stomach.
Into the stomach.
And that's where things get really crazy.
Yeah. The stomach is like a
churning vat.
It's a churning vat.
Yeah.
Full of acid.
Acids and enzymes.
Breaking down proteins.
It's kind of scary when you think about it.
It is a little bit frightening.
Yeah.
I mean, how can our body handle such a harsh environment?
Yeah, you would think it would just eat right through us.
You'd think.
But it doesn't.
And it doesn't.
So, okay, it goes into the stomach. It gets churned up, broken down further.
And then?
Then I think it goes into the small intestine.
The small intestine, yes.
Which, actually, I was looking at this knowledge organizer. And
what does it say about the small intestine?
it says it's like 20 feet long.
I know. It's crazy.
That's not small.
Not small at all.
So 20 feet of intestine all coiled up in there.
All coiled up in there, yeah.
And what's going on in there?
Well, that's where your body really starts to absorb all the nutrients from your food.
Okay, so the stomach is breaking it down, and then the small intestine is absorbing.
Exactly.
This knowledge organizer mentions these things called villi.
Ah, yes, the villi.
What are those?
So the villi are these tiny little finger-like projections that line the small intestine. And they're really important because they increase the surface area of the intestine.
So more surface area, more absorption.
Exactly. The more surface area you have, the more nutrients your body can absorb.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and scientists think that, for our ancestors,
Yeah.
having that efficient nutrient absorption would have been a huge advantage.
Right. Every little bit counts when you're out there,
Absolutely.
collecting and gathering.
Exactly.
So, okay, small intestine, 20 feet long, tons of absorption going on. What happens to all the stuff that doesn't get absorbed?
Well, that's where the large intestine comes in.
Okay.
And its main job is to absorb water from the remaining waste.
So it basically just dries everything out.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
It gets rid of all the excess water and turns the waste into a solid form.
And then,
And then out it goes.
the end of the line.
Right.
So from start to finish, that whole process is pretty amazing.
It's a very efficient system.
It is.
But digestion isn't just about humans.
Oh, right.
This knowledge organizer also talks about how different animals have different kinds of teeth.
Yeah, and it all depends on what they eat.
Exactly. Form follows function,
So like carnivores.
Carnivores, yeah.
They have those sharp, pointy teeth.
Like a wolf, right.
Yeah, those canines for tearing into flesh.
Exactly. And even different kinds of carnivores have specialized teeth for different purposes.
Oh, like what?
Well, take hyenas, for example.
Okay.
They often crush bones, so their molars are incredibly strong.
Oh, wow. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then you have herbivores. Herbivores, right?
Like cows.
Cows, horses, all those guys.
They have those big, flat molars.
For grinding.
Like a mortar and pestle.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, just grinding up all those plants all day long.
All day long.
And it's really cool.
What's that?
Paleontologists can actually tell what ancient animals ate.
Really?
Just by looking at their fossilized teeth.
Wow, that's amazing.
Like being a detective, right?
It is. Like a paleontological detective.
You can figure out, was this a meat eater or a plant eater?
Just from their teeth.
Yeah, just from their teeth.
That's so cool.
It is. So we've talked about the human digestive system. We've talked about teeth.
Mm-hmm.
What about food chains?
Ah, yes, food chains.
This knowledge organizer also talks about that.
It does. And it's all about how energy flows through ecosystems.
Right. So it starts with the producers.
The producers, yeah.
Like plants.
Like plants, algae, things that can make their own food from sunlight.
Photosynthesis.
Exactly. They harness the energy from the sun, and then
you have the herbivores.
The plant eaters.
Right. They get their energy from eating the plants.
And then
come the carnivores.
the meat eaters.
They eat the herbivores.
So it's like a chain reaction.
It is a chain reaction of energy transfer.
And this knowledge organizer gives some really good examples.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, there's the seaweed shrimp crab chain.
Oh, that's a classic one.
Yeah, so the seaweed is the producer. It makes its own food. The shrimp eat the seaweed.
Right.
And then the crabs eat the shrimp.
And then who knows, maybe a bigger fish eats the crab.
Right. This just keeps going.
It's a web of life.
Exactly. It's all connected.
And it shows how important each part of the ecosystem is.
Yeah. If something happens to one part of the chain,
It can affect everything else.
the knowledge organizer also mentions the grass snowshoe hare lynx chain.
Oh, yeah, that's another good word.
So the grass grows, the hare eats the grass, the lynx eats the hare.
And if something happens to the lynx population, like if there are too many or too few...
It can have a ripple effect all the way down to the graph.
Exactly. It's all interconnected.
It really is mind-boggling when you think about it.
It is. The complexity of nature is amazing.
So from our own digestive systems to these vast food chains.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
And it all started with something as simple as eating.
Right. And it just shows how connected we all are.
To each other and to the entire planet.
So next time you sit down for a meal,
what should we think about?
Well, we should think about where that food came from, how it got to our plate.
And all the amazing processes that went into making it happen.
From the sun's energy to the plants and animals that were involved.
To the incredible work our own bodies do to digest it.
It's a pretty amazing journey.
It is, and it's something we should all appreciate.
Absolutely.
And, maybe we should also think about...
About what?
About the impact our food choices have on the environment.
Oh, right.
Can we make choices that support a healthy and sustainable food chain?
That's a good question.
Something to think about.
Definitely food for thought.
Indeed.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into digestion and food chains.
It's been a pleasure.
And until next time, keep exploring.
Keep learning.